Hey all, just trying to let a few people come on if they can. Let's see. Don't know who all read it, so tagging the few that I think did. Welcome as you ladies come on. All right, tagged a few people. I'll get Instagram going in a minute. If you're on, hello. All right, let me try to go live on Instagram. Give me a second. Ooh-wee, that light is bright. Paste, post. I need to pin comment. There we go. Welcome to our chat. Hey. For those of you that are jumping on, we are discussing our November book, Sugar by Bernice L. McFadden. So hopefully you ladies had the chance to read this awesomeness. I finished it this morning. I was a bit lazy over the Thanksgiving break, so wasn't much reading happening over the weekend, so or during the course of the time that I was off. So I did it via audio, so I had like a couple of hours left and was able to finish it this morning, and definitely a 5-star read for me. Yes, and went on to BookTube to really enjoy that. And I was going to ask that question because when I was talking to Anna this morning, she said that she wanted to read book 2. So I knew Jamie is probably the only one that I know for sure read it right after reading Sugar. So does book 2 answer some of the unanswered questions that we have in book 1? Just curious to know. I'm excited. I'm going to have to bump that one up. Probably won't be able to do it this month, but I think I may make it a January personal read for me. So we shall see. Yes. Yeah. Because that last sentence of the book was like cliffhanger all the way. I was like, okay. Where do we stand? So I'm excited. I knew very little. I don't even know if I had reread the description. Like, I've read it a while ago, but I don't even think that I reread the description before reading it this time around. And for those of you that are popping on, we're discussing Sugar by Bernice L. McFadden. That was our November read, and wow. Let me know what your thoughts were overall of the book before I dive in and start discussing. Definitely was a 5-star for me. No doubt. And if you're joining, jump on, say hello. I know a few are busy working and stuff with the holidays. It's hard to get everybody on here today. Hi there. Yeah. So, like I said, it was a 5-star read for me. This was my first Bernice McFadden book, so I was super excited to finally be reading one of her novels. I'm definitely going to have to read part 2 of Sugar. For those of y'all popping on, this is what we're discussing, our November book of the month. So many twists and turns. I didn't see the relationship with Pearl and Sugar forming the way that it did. I wasn't expecting it to be what it was. It ended up being a beautiful thing. They both kind of got what they needed from one another. You know, Sugar was able to help Pearl just come back to life after mourning the loss of her daughter. Pretty much took away everything from her. It just drained her completely. And so to see these two kind of form a relationship together and it was kind of beautiful, like a mother-daughter relationship, Sugar not having her mother in her life, so it was nice to have Pearl as that motherly figure, and then of course Sugar as that daughter figure, which already had reminded Pearl so much of her daughter. And if you've read the book, then you know why now. Like, all they kept saying throughout the book, Seth, the son, Pearl, they just kept saying how much she looked like the daughter that was killed in the beginning of the book. Hey, Dawn. Welcome. Going live on both Facebook and Instagram, so you'll see me going back and forth between screens and talking to everyone. But we were just asking your overall thoughts of the book for right now, and I was kind of just discussing the relationship between Sugar and Pearl, which became such a beautiful thing. Who would have thought these two people would come together and kind of fill these voids that they had in their lives, and it was just such a beautiful relationship to witness. How they grew together, and Sugar was so just hardcore and just leave me alone, I can't be bothered, what do you want? And then they end up Pearl ends up breaking down these walls, and in a sense Sugar ends up breaking down these walls in Pearl as well, that she had built up. Like, someone murdered her daughter, and for her, that was it. Life, her last child, was murdered, her only girl, and so that just took everything out of her, which was so sad. And especially the gruesome details of how the daughter was murdered. And it just, honestly, at the end, when they were going through the details of how the daughter was murdered and who did it, I literally was sitting there, because I was listening to the audio, I just had to close my eyes and just, it was hard to hear those details of this drunk man taking advantage of a little girl. And there will be spoilers for y'all, but cutting off her private parts, literally taking a knife and cutting her private parts and laying them next to her. So when they found her body, her private part was laying next to her on the ground. Not only does your daughter pass, but in this manner, that just would haunt me for life, to know that somebody did that. And it's that's how the book starts off, was with this death. They don't know who did it. She was found in the grass. Someone was walking by. They saw her laying in the grass with her private part. He gathered all of that together and brought her home to her mother. And so, it gets into a little more detail towards the end of the book. I can't even think of this drunken man's name, but he basically is the guy that did it is a regular. So if, for those of y'all who don't know, Sugar is a prostitute, okay? So she's basically escaping from city to city, and that's pretty much what she does. The men in the town come to the house, have their way with her, she makes money, they do that transaction, and that's that. Lappy. Yeah, Lappy did it. Okay. Yeah, oh my, yes, you did come in on the most horrifying part, but that's literally how the book jumps off, is the death of her daughter. And so the death of the daughter happens, the mother's in mourning, she's kind of closed off from her family, her friends, all she does is go to church. She pretty much is questioning God at this point, because look what you did to my one and only baby. How could you let this happen to my little girl? So she's already on the fence with her faith, but continues to go to church. But it's kind of isolated. Pearl isolates herself after that experience, not sleeping with her husband, not being affectionate towards him. They just are two strangers kind of living, in the house together, not really knowing each other whatsoever. So Sugar kind of bounces from city to city and is becoming, hey, Shoshana, is, on the fast track. She's a prostitute. Each city that she touches, she's kind of doing the same thing. And so she moves next door and to Pearl and Joe. And, the neighbors are kind of turning their nose up at Sugar. this girl who wears these wigs and this makeup, and she just wears these outfits, and it's kind of like the whole city is just like, who is this girl that's invaded Bigelow, our small little town? And so it was big news that she kind of moved in and turned heads, not necessarily in a positive way, but she definitely turned heads, and made some people question her and turn their nose up at her. And so a lot of neighbors had stuff to say about her and her past life and who they thought she was. And Pearl was the only person that really just didn't listen to the hearsay. She was like, I'm going to go meet my neighbor for her, to see who she is and welcome her into the city with this pie, this sweet potato pie. And if you've read the book, you know that there was a couple of incidences where the first 2 times she brings the pie over, she ends up dropping it on the floor out of nervousness. And the next time, I don't know if sugar hit it out of her hand or something, but it ends up landing on the top of her head. And so, Sugar Lacey is kind of got her guard up and it's like, what do you want? Like, why do you keep coming over here? Why do you keep trying to ask me questions? Because she's used to people just treating her badly and saying what they want about her. So she just is on the defense. Like, why are you coming over to my house? Like, what do you want from me? And so after the second pie incident, she ends up she's like, I promise you one of these days you're going to be able to taste this sweet potato pie that I've made you. And so they end up going back over to Pearl's house and making it together, because I think Sugar makes a joke and is like, well, hopefully one of these days I'll be able to take these pies, but, you keep dropping them or landing on your head. And so that's kind of how she broke the ice, and she went over to Pearl's house and they baked a sweet potato pie together. And that's kind of where their friendship started. Erica says, I'm up in here. I reread the book a few months ago. It's not so fresh in my mind, but I remember the gist of it. Yeah, it's I always, even just having read it, I finished it today. So even sometimes I'm trying to rethink what's happened. But yeah, so they built their friendship off of that. They ended up spending time together, a lot of time together, really getting to know one another. And a lot of Pearl's friends would come over asking questions, and they really didn't like Sugar's carefree spirit and how she just did not give a damn about what people thought of her. I mean, she's stark naked, the windows are wide open, and the neighbors are riding around trying to sneak a peek at this woman who could care less if you saw her naked. Like, it is what it is. This is me. This is who I am. I'm not changing for anybody. And so, the nosy ladies in the town are trying to pry some information from Pearl and see what this girl is all about. And even if they heard the truth, they still go and make their own stories about Sugar and who she is as a person. And they kind of turn their nose up. They want nothing to do with her because they've heard the rumors. And then the men, on the other hand, are visiting Sugar as a prostitute and want to, sleep with her and all this stuff. But during the day, they're kind of just like, I don't know who you are. Even the reverend of the church is like, I don't know who you are, kind of thing. And so, at night, it's a totally different story. They're cool with it. But in the daytime, everybody's acting like, they're stuck up and don't want to be bothered with her. So yes, she was a very carefree in her mind. She was, and I kind of appreciated about that. Let's see, Jamie said Pearl was very protective. That was an intense scene when she approaches her about what she does and ends up calling her Jude. Yes, and I couldn't remember her daughter's name to save the life of me. So Jude, so everybody that comes across or knew Jude, and especially like her mother and her brother, everybody says that Sugar looks like Jude. So they become close, and I think that's part of the reason why Pearl becomes close with Sugar is because she reminds her so much of her daughter. Like, the resemblance, like she just, and sometimes in conversation she'll even call her Jude because she looked so much like her. And that's kind of my favorite part at the end, was this plot twist. Hi T, yeah, it's a really good good one to read. Definitely add it to your list. But it just, the relationship that they built, I loved Pearl as a person because she didn't care where Sugar came from, what she was doing. She accepted her for her and really like saw that she was a genuine person and had a great heart. So I love that about her because we got to see a side of Sugar where she let her walls down and wasn't so tough, and Pearl, who was just kind of out of it. She was kind of glassed over and just really out of it for many, many years because of her daughter and what happened to her. So Pearl was able to help her break down those walls and really help her to become herself again. So there's this part in the book where Joe is gone. Yeah, she did bring out the best in Pearl, and I think Pearl brought out the best in Sugar as well. I think they both, like I was explaining earlier, it was kind of this mother-daughter relationship where Sugar was filling this void for Pearl as her daughter, and, you know, Sugar, who didn't have a mom, Pearl was kind of filling that void for her too. So it was crazy that this bond that they kind of just filled this void for one another. But there's this part where Joe goes out of town to Florida or something for a couple of weeks. And so during this time period, Sugar gets this idea to like kind of get Pearl to come out of her shell. So she takes her to I guess it's the juke joint or something, the local bar, and she dyes Pearl's hair black. And Pearl's just kind of looking in the mirror like, I haven't seen this woman in a long time. Like, she hardly recognizes herself, and she just becomes so free. And even in the book, like, obviously, Sugar is good at sex and the acts and different things, and so she's teaching Pearl the things that she knows. And at first, it's hard for Pearl to kind of grasp this stuff because she's so like goody two shoes, and my husband's never even seen me fully naked before. Like, he has to lift up my nightgown anytime he sleeps with me. So it was kind of interesting that she was allowing Sugar to teach her these things. Yeah, I love that scene too. It's just like she's bringing all of this out of Pearl, and Pearl is starting to become this woman that has been hidden for years, or even just at all, because even on the sexual aspect, Pearl was just so like goody two shoes. The Lord, I can't do this. Like, I got to stay covered up when I sleep with my husband. And, you know, it was kind of cool to see her transform into this the carefree spirit that Sugar had kind of came over into Pearl. And you could see her, like, her sexual expressions. Like, she started just walking around the house naked and not caring and just loving herself. Yeah, when she looked Jamie said, I love that part when she looked in the mirror and really saw herself again. And I thought that was a beautiful thing, because it's like, here, this whole town, yeah, so many women deal with that. Just insecurities, or just not being comfortable. Like, you know, a lot of people are taught that sex is bad. Wait till you're married. And even then, they've been taught all their lives that sex is bad as women. Like, we're taught to be the good girls and reserve yourself, wait for marriage, and sex isn't really discussed. You know, so it's kind of like, and especially probably back then, they probably weren't doing sex ed and exploring like that. So, you know, she didn't have the experience and wasn't going to talk to anybody about it. So Sugar really brought this whole other, it's almost like an alter ego, but brought this person alive. Like, she brought Pearl back alive. Yeah, it did. It helped. Dawn brought up a great point that these acts, or hanging with, you know, what Sugar was showing her helped her to love herself and feel more comfortable. So now she's like, her husband's coming home, and first of all, her hair's dyed black, so she looks younger, and it's like, he's kind of staring like, who is this person in my house? And then he realizes, like, oh, that's my wife, you know? And her hair is black, and so she just looks like a whole new person. And then she's, you know, they're talking about how sexually, like, they're having more sex than they've ever had. Something it mentions, like, in the last 2 weeks, they've had more sex in the last 2 weeks than they have their entire time being together. So, I mean, they were getting it in. Pearl was more confident in her body. I'm sure she was doing some tricks and showing him some things. And he's like, who is this woman? But in a sense, I'm pretty sure, I mean, I don't recall Joe ever questioning Pearl her new ways. I'm pretty sure he knew that the influence of hanging with Sugar was where this came from. And so I think at the same time, he had a great appreciation for Sugar and the relationship that Pearl and her bonded. Yeah, I really liked Joe because he was like carefree in a sense and not judging. And mind you, he had a past. So when he traveled, I think it was to St. Louis, he had slept. It talks about Joe having slept with one of the ladies in a house that Sugar came from. And I didn't put two and two together until the very end. Yeah, he was just happy he was getting some loving. Like, he's like, finally. Because after their daughter was murdered, that was it. Pearl's like, I'm not sleeping with nobody. Like, it had been years since they had done anything. So on one of Joe's out-of-town trips, he did, visit the whorehouse, as they like to use the term whore a lot. So he visited and did his thing. Well, lo and behold, again, he thinks that everybody thinks that she looks like Jude. Well, the last sentence in the book was what got me. I was like, what? Like, I didn't see that coming. So basically so Sugar ends up moving away towards the end. She has to escape. Yeah, Jamie said he didn't question her, and I appreciated that. Yep. So the guy was like, yeah, I found a picture of you. He's like, I almost threw it in the trash, but I looked at it and then I realized it was you. And then he hands him the picture. It was him and Birdie Mae. He was like, that's you, ain't it? The man bellowed and slapped his knee. Joe stared long and hard at the picture, stared into the truth he tried to avoid the whole time Sugar was there. So he'd been thinking about this one incident of when he went there, but was trying to like bury it under the rug, his one occurrence or his occurrence with a prostitute. Okay, so that's her sister. Okay, so Birdie Mae is her sister. Is Sugar's mom's sister? So Sugar's aunt? So anyways, he stared into the truth he tried to avoid the whole time Sugar was there. He didn't need a picture of him and Birdie Mae to see that she was a clear product of the two of them. Oh, you talking about Jude? Yes, sorry. I get what you're saying. Ignore what I just said. But yes, Jude is a product of, yes, they're sisters. Her and Sugar are sisters, so that's where that comes in. So he looks at he didn't need a picture of him and Birdie Mae to see that she was a clear product of the two of them. He thought it the first time he saw her, but had convinced himself otherwise. Now he stood, his stature a bit stooped, and placed the picture safely in the breast pocket of his shirt. He took the first step towards home, where he would speak the first word of an age-old story and ask, for the first time in his life, the forgiveness from his wife. And I was just like, yes. Sorry, I got what you were saying now, that Sugar and Jude are sisters, and that's why everybody, even Seth, thought that they looked so much alike. And interesting enough, which brings me back to Seth, because Seth is Joe and Pearl's son who came home for Thanksgiving to kind of spend some time. And for those of you, Joe is Sugar's dad. So he ends up, yes. So everybody looks, sorry, I'm looking at, right, Birdie is Sugar's mom, and that's what I thought too. I was reading Dawn's question wrong when she was talking about something else. So I read that wrong. Yeah, so Joe is her dad, and the crazy part is she has a brother named, Pearl and Joe have a son named Seth. So Seth comes home, surprise, for Thanksgiving, and him and Sugar really hit it off. Like, I mean, fireworks, they end up kissing. I think that's as far as they go. But Joe is falling in love, like he had his heart broken and was divorced, and so he ends up like really, him and Sugar really end up falling for each other. And they have this plan where he's like, I want to buy this restaurant in New York. I'm going back to New York, but I want you to come with me. So Sugar had packed up her bag, was making this plan, like literally getting ready to leave with this guy. And so Then this incident happens, and I'm forgetting the guy's name again. Basically, the guy who killed Jude. Yeah, and so Seth and Sugar are actually brother and sister. So this whole trying to find her. So he ends up kissing her. That's as far as it goes. Sorry, I'm trying to find Lappy. Okay, so Lappy, keep forgetting his name. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, so Seth and are trying to go away, but then Lappy hits her up and is kind of like, don't you forget where you came from. I'm the one who brought you up. You know, I'm the one who brought you all these clients. So he basically threatens her and is like, yeah, I'm going to be over at 10 o'clock with my boys, and I'm coming over whether you like it or not. And so Lappy ends up coming over. Seth tries to intervene, and Seth is trying to get a hold of Sugar. Sugar's not responding. And so this just chaos breaks out, okay? And then Seth is pissed off. He ends up getting pissed off and leaving. But it's kind of like a good thing that happened, even though it was sad, because at the time you obviously didn't know that Seth was her brother. So you are like, oh, finally, like somebody is gonna love Sugar for this person that she truly is. Like he sees the beauty in her and he's loving her for her, and you think that she's finally going to get this happy ending, and then Lappy comes and ruins it all. Yeah, Lappy is just an asshole. So if you missed the beginning part of the chat, he was the one that killed the little girl Jude. And so in his interaction, he has another interaction, I think. Does Sugar end up going to his house, I think, or something? But he ends up just like threatening her, cursing her out, calling her a whore, telling her all of these bad things, how he's the one who made her, and is basically like has her in a chokehold and is suffocating her, and is like, I'm going to do the same thing to you that I did to Jude. And he didn't know that that was Jude's name at the time when he was killing her. He didn't know who she belonged to. He just saw this little girl, was drunk, and just raped her, or attempted to rape her, and cut off her private parts and left it in the field and left her for dead in the field. So nobody knew who did it, but for some reason he felt like it was okay to confess this to Sugar as he's trying to kill her, and is saying her name and saying, I'm the one who killed it. Yeah, so later that night, that's that same night after Seth left, Lappy is trying to kill her. And so it's just a crazy scene, because you're like, oh my God, like this guy is a horrible person. And I was really hoping that Sugar would go back and tell Pearl and Joe, like, give them some closure with what happened and let them know what Lappy did. Like, I just hate that nothing was said about that. That really bothered me. Like, I felt like if you're going to leave, that's fine, but at least, like, leave a note, let them know what had happened to their precious daughter, because I just felt like they deserve that closure. You know, so many years that Pearl had been living with this and struggling with this and just struggling with the loss of her daughter, I felt like she deserved that. Like, you know, knowing that information, like, she should have just, you know, told them that before she skipped out of town. So anyways, Sugar's house goes up for sale, and Joe sees this picture of him, and it confirms, like, what he already knew, that Sugar is his daughter. And that's exactly how the book leaves us off. So it's kind of like a cliffhanger that, okay, now it's your daughter, so what happens with Pearl? Which I'm sure Pearl, it would be hard for her to hear that, but then at the same time, like, this is your stepdaughter. Like, I think that she would be happy knowing that Sugar truly is her blood, and that their connection was, you know what I mean? Like, it was destined. It was meant to be that this girl moved next door and we built this relationship, and she really loves Sugar. So I think that she could look past this affair or this one night stand, whatever you want to call it, and know that, you know, this is a piece of her. Yeah, I don't like the ending either. So yes, and so there is a book 2. Is it This Bitter Earth? I think it's This Bitter Earth. Yes, the continuing story of Sugar Lacey is called This Bitter Earth. So I'm definitely going to read book 2. And Jamie, tell us again, you said you enjoyed that. And Jamie said that it answers a lot of questions that were not answered, or the cliffhangers that we were kind of left off with. We get those things answered. Okay, Empower to you, you're about to get blocked because I'm not looking for book recommendations. You're like blowing up my mailbox and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. We're not doing that today. In the middle of our book chat. Like, not really. Okay, so anyways. Yes, there is a book 2. I don't know if you have the book or if you can see this, but this one right here, This Bitter Earth, is part 2 of Sugar Lacey's story. So I have a packed December with reads in my list, and I'm already behind because I should have finished this one days ago. But being lazy on Thanksgiving break, I didn't. So I probably will add this to my January list of reads. So if any of y'all, some of y'all might want to go ahead and, yeah, Erica says read book 2. So I'm definitely going to do that. So if anybody wants to jump on the bandwagon and read it with me in January, I'm definitely going to do that. I love this story and I'm interested, so many questions to read. Yeah, Stacy said, I do believe that Pearl can move forward knowing Sugar is her daughter, and I definitely agree with that. I think she's the missing piece. It's the replacement to Jude. It's like, the saying, and I hate to sound so cliche, but the saying that God won't take something away unless he replaces it with other. And I know that's such a hard thing to say with death because, people are irreplaceable. But I feel like in a sense, while Jude is irreplaceable, Sugar helped kind of heal that wound and kind of bring some comfort to her. So, she's never going to be Jude and she's never going to be able to replace that. But at the same time, I feel like Sugar was a good substitute. Yes, I will send the link. You want me? I'll look up for the link on Goodreads and I'll post it in the group so that you guys can read that book. Yeah, I definitely, someone, Mocha Caramel said, I definitely want to read the series. Jay Renee said I may get that one. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to read the second part of it because I felt like this was such a good book. And I want to know, what does Pearl do when Joe tells her this secret, And you're so scared of any little thing that's going to trigger Pearl because she's come such a far way with her healing and trying to get over the loss of Jude and just being so secluded from her husband and just kind of has these walls built up. So it's like, will him telling her this trigger her back into her old ways, so much to think about and so much to uncover. So I'm excited to read the second book. Yeah, so Lappy, I want him caught too. I kid you not, listening to that scene of him playing play-by-play of seeing her innocent self with her ribbons and her hair just flowing and in the grass, and he's talking to her, and she, as innocent as she is, she's just so trusting of this man, and so she doesn't run away or anything like that. So it's just such a hard scene to know that he tries to take her virginity, but obviously because she's so young, he couldn't force himself in her. And that I was listening to it like this with my eyes closed because I couldn't. That was just such a hard scene to listen to. That poor innocent child. The beginning of the book kind of tells you how she's found and what happened, but not in detail on who did it and how it went down. And that was a lot for me to take in. So, but yeah, when I was at the ending, I was like, whoa, Joe is her father. That is crazy to me. Did it also say in the end of the book where Sugar went? She left, but did it say what city or where she was headed to? Although I hate Lappy, I'm kind of glad that freak accident happened. so that her and Seth didn't get any closer than they did, because incest and sleeping with your brother, it was a lot to take in. But I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. It's my first Bernice McFadden book, so I was super excited to read this one finally. That's kind of why I like what we do here at Book Girl Magic, is just reading and celebrating Black women authors. So like going back to some of the old stuff, because Lord, I know this book was written some time ago. Book 2 covers her life after she left, so it's so good. See, I'm excited. Erica's making me excited about this, so I really want to go back and read. And I know Jamie read it immediately after reading this one. Yeah, can you imagine how many of those stories take place? Dawn said, like, how many innocent little girls are just... Got to be careful. Even as adult women now, the new trend is sex trafficking, so we have to be extra careful of our surroundings and where we are and where we park next to, and just be extra aware. You know, it's a crazy time right now. Even your Uber drivers, like, be aware of where you're going. Yeah, people marry into families they don't know, marry into crazy. This book was written in 2000? Interesting. For some reason, I thought that it was written before then. I'm excited, though. I definitely will be reading this as soon as I can. Any other thoughts, comments, questions on the book? Whether or not you enjoyed it? I'm excited for... I can't believe, like, it's already December and we have less than 30 days until 2020. That's insane to me. But overall, I think we've had a pretty good year of book club reads. Like, I've enjoyed most everything that we've read. So what's the... Erica, I know it might be like a lot to type, because I saw The Warmest December was also in the back. What's that one about, if you can read? Because now I want to know what other books she's come. Y'all are killing it. Well, thank you. I'm trying to pick old and new stuff, and especially, like, you know, Book Girl Magic for me has always been just trying to read more books by people that look like us. And I didn't start reading until 3 years ago, so there's so many books by Black authors, and so I do my damnedest to try to incorporate that with Black women through this book club, but I want to incorporate old and new, because I think it's fun to go back and just reread some of these classic books that just should be read by everyone. Kudos to you on the selections. Thank you, Jamie. I'm excited for 2020 because I've got a killer lineup coming up too. We've got some good ones, especially the first quarter. I'm super excited for the reads that we have coming up. And to be a mom and working woman, yeah, it's tiresome. I literally had basketball practice from 6 to 7, came home, got kids showered, dressed, changed, snacks, and threw them in the bed by 7:45. So it's these are my days so that I can jump on here and chat with y'all, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I am glad I didn't have to read those horrific details of the murder. You telling it was enough. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a book that's made me, like, just do this. Cringe. And I was at my desk at work, and I had to close my eyes and just pause at life, because it was just such a cringe-worthy moment. April Sinclair is a hugely overlooked author. I'll have to check her out. Black woman author? And what do you recommend by her? It has helped me. So with that being said, I'm super excited to read our December book of the month, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. Never read any of her books, so I'm just slowly knocking off one by one. I've heard that this book has a lot going on in it, and it's hard to... Coffee will make you black. Okay. Thanks for that. Can we get a sneak peek of the 2020 book lineup? Oh, the pressure. I will say that Toni Morrison will be on there. Sula for sure, because you ladies voted on there. Yeah, Just Mercy was a tough one too. And so we're gonna, for those of you in Atlanta, we're gonna do the book outing. I think the 28th of December to go see Just Mercy together. So hopefully you ladies can make that. It's a Saturday. That's what everybody voted on. So I know we have Sula coming up for Toni Morrison. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I have this list written down. Stacey, you can come see me at my desk and I can tell you what I have lined up. I don't know if I want to spoil it or tell everybody right now, because I want y'all to stay tuned. But what's the book that just won? Is it Girl, Other Woman? Something like that. I can't remember the title, but it just won was it the National Book Award? It tied for first place. But anyways, that's on our list to read. There's a new book that comes out at the end of the month that I picked up from Penguin Random House at BookCon. That we'll read. See, my phones are tied up right now, so I can't even look to see what we have. Thinking about The Darkest Child. I have some books in the air that I haven't confirmed yet. So, yeah, I like to release my stuff one by one because I don't want people to read ahead and jump ahead and be like, because we do have some fast readers in our book club. Like literally it could be, I'll put the book out on the 20th of each month and then 3 days later, everybody's done with it. So I know some book clubs like to put out books like quarterly and say, this is what we're reading for the next 3 months, but I don't like that. I like to keep y'all in suspense. It's fun that way. Bernadine Evaristo, how do I join your book club? So if you go to Facebook, and we have a private group on there. So if you search Book Girl Magic, you'll find the Facebook page, but there's a private Facebook group. But honestly, just if you're following my Instagram, and this is how we chat monthly basis. So you can either catch me on Instagram or Erica will definitely be doing the Darkest Child probably second quarter of 2020. So yeah, we'll read that again. But yeah, if you're following me on Instagram, or you can join our private book club on Facebook. The private book club is a little more active on a day-to-day basis. All of the women, we post what we read on a daily and weekly basis. We just talk books, and every December we just finished up doing an Elfster gift exchange. So my books aren't right here, but my Secret Santa sent me Sula and Never Caught. It's a book about a runaway slave, I believe. So I got those 2 books, but we do like little gift exchanges and stuff like that too. And sometimes we have outings if you're in Atlanta. We do, like, if it's a book to film, like we kind of read Just Mercy along with Sugar in November. So a lot of us will be going to see movies, and I hope that the women that don't live in Atlanta will go see the movie around the same time so that we can discuss it in the group too. But yeah, if you're following, like Jamie's like, don't spoil it. Yeah, I don't like telling my picks. The only person that knows all of my picks is Anna Isaac, because I run things past her, my picks, or at least share with her and get feedback from her a lot of times. So she's been clutch in helping me with. For 2020, I've picked most of them myself. So I'm pretty proud of, I'm kind of understanding the more that we exist as a book club, I'm understanding what you ladies love as far as books are concerned. So I think I've kind of been hitting the nail on the head with the choices that we have. Okay, thanks. I'd love to meet up at the movies. I'm in the Atlanta area. Yeah, so definitely, if you have Facebook, go join our Facebook group. We plan to go, I think the 28th is a Saturday. We'll probably do it in the afternoon, and I think I created an event in the Facebook group for that movie. So we'll probably meet at a central location like Atlantic Station, which if anybody has any other suggestions for Atlanta movie theaters, I'm game for it because Atlantic Station has gotten pretty expensive. But that seems to be the most central place for everybody to live. So we'll meet, I think, the 28th. We'll define the time. It'll be in the afternoon, but we'll define the time more as we get closer and the movie times are put out there. But I want to also do a book exchange with the ladies that show up in person. So if everybody just brings a book, whatever your favorite, purchase a book, whatever you want to give, and we'll all just kind of put the books in a pile and everybody gets to take one home, bring a book, come home with a new book. So I think that'll be kind of fun to do a book exchange too. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you ladies are in Atlanta, go follow our Facebook group. Like, again, it's Book Girl Magic. If you just go to Facebook and search Book Girl Magic and find the group, join it. I will add you in there. It's a closed group, but it will be easy to find. And so we just finished reading Just Mercy over November, so we're gonna go see that as a movie. And if you have not read it, you have plenty of time to read it if you want to before the movie, because I think we're gonna do it on the Saturday the 28th. So, yep. The movie theater by Main Event on Cumberland is pretty reasonable too, and they have free parking. Okay. No, she said I'm in Chicago. Boo-hoo. Sorry, but you can go see it the same day. Yeah. So I'm excited because I think Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. It's give me 2 seconds. I'll go grab the book. Doo-doo-doo. Skirt. I'm back. This is Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. Bryan Stevenson is a lawyer who basically tries to help innocent people get off of death row. So there's a ton of little stories, and I'll put that up there so you guys can see. There's a ton of little stories within the book, but there's one main story that follows a guy named Walter throughout the entire book, and how he was completely innocent, but because he was dating a married white woman, they tried to pin a murder on him. So even though he had alibis, he was still sitting on death row. So it talks a lot about Bryan Stevenson's fight for justice and all of these innocent people that he was able to get off of death row. Some he wasn't so successful, but he had a good chunk of them that he was. So in the movie, Bryan Stevenson is played by Michael B. Jordan, and Walter is played by Jamie Foxx. So look up go to YouTube and look up the movie trailer for that too. It's going to be a really, really good. I get it, not the same as being in Chicago as Atlanta. I know. But I'm super excited, so I think that's going to be a great movie to watch. This book was phenomenal. Probably one of my top 10. I don't know how I'm going to make a top 10 this year. I've read way too many books that were really good. I think I did a top 12 last year, but I have to go back through the books because even some of the stuff that I read earlier this year, it's hard to narrow it down to top 10, but I always do it at the end of the year, so it's always hard. But yeah. Yes, the preview looks great. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome movie, so I'm excited to watch that one. So I think that'll be fun to get some of the Atlanta peeps together. We don't meet too often in person. All of our book chats are done virtually, just like this. I come on the first Tuesday of every month, so our next chat will be January 7th, and we'll discuss Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So that'll be our December read, and we'll discuss that on January 7th. But that's what I love about having this book club, is that we do everything virtually. So we literally take an hour out of our time each month to discuss the books, no matter where you are worldwide. You can jump on and participate and, get some good reading in. So it's been pretty awesome. And I'm happy to have y'all along for the ride. You've been amazing. I'm excited, though. I'm glad Erica just said The Darkest Child was so good, so I'm excited to add that to the lineup. I think, yeah, we've had some good ones. Some good reads. So, any other questions, comments before I shut it down? Look at that, 8:49. We've been going for 50 minutes. You know, Instagram loves to cut me off right at an hour on the dot, so I have to beat them to the punch sometimes. But yeah, it was a great read. So I'm definitely going to read Sugar Part 2 because I need to know more. And I hope and pray in Part 2 that she discloses Lappy with his dumb self. I hope he gets exposed. I need that to happen. Did you read Queenie? We did. We actually read Queenie, so that was our April book of the month. We read Queenie alongside Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, and Jane Allen, the author of Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, actually came on live with me to discuss both Queenie and Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, which was really cool because the books were like the awkwardness and the things that happen to Black women at two different stages in their life. So it was kind of cool to compare those two books. That video can be found, Queenie's video can be found on our YouTube page. I believe that chat with Jane Allen is actually posted on our YouTube page. So you can find that chat with me and Jane. But Queenie was a good one. Queenie was quite jacked up. Yeah. Queenie, you wanted to hate her, but then you fall in love with her too. But she had some stuff going on. She had some issues. I love Black Girls Must Die Exhausted too. That was a good one. I'll check it. American Street, have not read that. I've had that book for 2 years, maybe longer, and I have not read that as of yet. If y'all could see my house and the books, like it's getting ridiculous. I had to steal a bookshelf out of my kids' room and put books in my room. Like it's getting out of hand. And it's like, these publishers are so generous, and they just, yeah, Black Girls Must Die Exhausted was great. I get books to my house on a weekly basis, and it's I have to be very selective in what I say yes to now, because at first it was like, oh, it's cool, someone wants to send me a free book, sure, I'll take it. But now it's like, am I actually going to read this? If I'm not, I'm not taking it. Like, only take what you're going to read. I will say this, though. My favorite partnerships are Libro FM and Penguin. Those are two of my favorite ones. I mean, all of them are great, but like Penguin today sent us some stuff, and they had, you get to pick your books or whatever for the month of December, and they had the Michelle Obama Journal on there. Yeah, I was pretty stoked about that. And they also had Becoming on there as, like, if you hadn't already grabbed it as a copy. That was pretty cool. And they also had the Prince book on there, but I already got a copy for them like a week ago, so. Yeah, remember when I was trying to get people to send books? Like, I had the hardest time. I'm telling you, numbers are everything. I'll just say this. At the beginning of the year, I had 5,400 followers, and now I'm on the brink of hitting 13K, and numbers definitely make a difference in who wants to approach you. So I'm super blessed that you guys follow me and that I'm able to be blessed with these books and partnerships, because I have some of the greatest partnerships ever. Like, I couldn't even imagine this. Like, blessed to just be able to have catalogs at and even just be able to request books and people not question who I am. Like, here's your numbers. Okay, you got it. Like, that's pretty cool. It is definitely a blessing. I'm beyond blessed, and Erica can attest to this. This book club, the book club, the group, the Book Girl Magic group as it was now, was once a book club that had like 20 people in it, and it was men and women at the time. And I think what's his name? What is it called? It was Blake. I just got his new book today. Dark Matter. And that was like the one and only book that we read, and then the book club just kind of fell off after that. And so I had created the book club, and I was like, this is whack. Like, so a couple months later, I just got rid of everybody. Like, all the dudes, exiled them, kicked them out of the group, and I said, you know what, I'm starting fresh. I kept Erica in there. Yeah, dark matter. It was, but I kicked everybody out of the group, and then I just started adding women, and I was like, you know what, I just want to better myself and read more books by people that look like us, by more Black people. Like, that was my goal, because growing up, I didn't start reading until 3 years ago. Like, I hated reading growing up, and not only that, growing up in the suburbs, you really didn't get to read, you know, the greats Toni Morrison and Zora Neale Hurston and all of these people that exist up here. And so I was on this mission to just read more books by more people that looked like us. And so that's kind of, it popped in my head one day, like, Book Girl Magic. Okay, I'll rename it. So I thought it maybe be a book club with 20 people in there. Yes, Blake Crouch. Thank you. And so 20 people a couple days later turned into 100. And then something woke me up out of my sleep on a Friday one day, and it was God telling me, lock down all of these social media pages, lock it down. So I went to Instagram, locked down the email, locked down the Facebook pages and the Twitter handles, which were all available, which was the craziest part. Like, that told me this is meant to be. And like, within a month, had 1,000 followers, and it just took off. And here we are. We just celebrated 2 months on November 9th. So, yeah, Erica said you reignited my love for reading. I love hearing that, because I never even had it. So it's brought out something in me that it's crazy for me to be reading at least 4 books a month. Like, I've never done that in my entire life. Ida B. Wells was solid to the core. And you know what? I have a book. If for those of you who are following us, Anna and I, Diverse Classics, are doing the 12 Days of Revolutionary Black Women. And so that I'll be posting an Ida B. Wells book, because that's something on my 2020 list. I bought it some time ago, and I just have not gotten to it. So I definitely, I'm laughing at Erica because I'm looking at her comment right now. So I'm definitely going to be reading Ida, because I want to know more about her story. And I actually want that book by Harriet Tubman, that Slay book that just came out not too long ago, because those are 2 stories of heroic women that I want to read in 2020. So I'll definitely be doing that. Yeah, so Erica's laughing over here because I was pissed off. There's literally a girl who has made an Instagram page and a Twitter, and she's called Bookish Girl Magic. And she just started it in August. So I felt some type of way. I'm like, really? Like, I always research names before I just go ahead and lock it down to make sure. But I'm like, really? Bookish Girl Magic? You probably tried Book Girl Magic, saw it was taken, and then this is what you came up with. So it's frustrating to me, because I don't want people to get confused. I mean, obviously, if you look at the following, there's no confusion, but it just drives me. Look, hell no. I promise you, go look up Bookish Girl Magic when you get off of this, and you will see that somebody has that name taken. And I'm just like, you know, when you take pride in your brand, and, you know, it's like I've spent money to create a logo and all kinds of stuff, and I've put a lot of work into this. So to see someone just kind of tweak my name a little bit and take that kind of, like, she's a hell to the no. That kind of hurt a little bit. But at the end of the day, people know what it is. People know who I am. Next year, I'm hoping to find a drop shipper. So if y'all know of any good drop shippers that sell some good quality clothes, I want to start selling this stuff. Sweatshirts, t-shirts, with the gold foil. I just want to do it right and make sure that the person does it right, the right material. So I refuse to put out something. I know a lot of people have been asking for stuff, but I refuse to put out something that is just not going to be great quality. So, working on that. I know a lot of people want mugs. So 2020, I'm working to get that stuff to you. Because I know you guys have been asking for it for a long time, for probably over a year now. You're right. That worked my nerves. Yeah. There's someone named Bookish Girl Magic who exists out there in this world. I've said nothing, but it is what it is. Makes you stronger. It absolutely does. Yeah. Jamie said, you already know I was ready to fight. I know. There was a lot of people. Yep. As I said, don't let it hurt. You've obviously inspired someone. Absolutely. Yep. The greatest, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, as they say. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, like, I'm also a professional photographer. Every photo that you see me post on the Book Girl Magic Instagram page is taken with my camera. So, you know, while someone can duplicate or try to, that part of me, my my images, they can't steal that from me. My creativity is always something that I've been great at. So at the end of the day, you know, it can't be duplicated. Let's see. Oh, that's why I can't find the shirt on the website. I was just looking. Yeah. So, the clothing line is coming. Is coming. I promise. The problem is time and being busy, but I do need to find a great drop shipper. That's been the biggest struggle, is finding someone to be able to drop ship, because I don't want to make the shirts and send them out myself. I'd rather have a third party company just take the orders and ship it out myself. So I've got to work on that and figure that out. Oh, look, Anna, towards the end of the chat. She just jumped on here. I was looking at your hoodie and wondering why I don't have any Book Girl Magic swag. Yeah, I can definitely get, got 16 seconds on Instagram, so it's going to shut down. I'll pop back on in 2 seconds as soon as it's done. So hop back on in a second because it's about to shut me down. There it goes. I gotta say, oh no, don't do that. It's not letting me save the video. Oh, you are so lame. All right, share the story. Let me go live again. Okay, sorry. I'm just trying to get the Instagram people situated. All right. Anyways. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I want to put out the hoodies. I like these because it has the white strings on there. So I'm looking to get that stuff situated for y'all. Thanks for jumping back on. Yeah. I know, y'all need shirts and cups and all that stuff. Oh, Anna just got off of work. Well, we had a great discussion, Anna. We missed you. Teespring, I will definitely look into that. Because I want those, the jersey cotton fitted tees. Like, I really want them. And the gold foil, like, it has to be done right. I don't want something that y'all are going to put in the wash and then it, like, cracks and peels off in a day, you know? So I just want to make sure it's done right because the logo is fire. We worked really hard. Moni worked really hard on getting this right. So I just want to make sure that it transfers onto other things the way I want it to. Teespring. Okay, I need to remember that. So, Printful. There's a couple of them out there. I just need to find. Thanks, Mo. Yeah, there's a couple of drop shippers. I just really need to hone down the information and getting it started. Jamie, I may hit you up because I think you sell stuff too, right? So I need to figure out who you're using and how you're doing that on your website, because I'm new to all of this. But I really want to get y'all stuff in 2020. I've been procrastinating long enough, and I know a lot of people have been wanting stuff. So we're going to do it. I'm going to put it on my vision board, okay? So we're going to make it happen. Anyways, thank y'all for joining me. We had an awesome time tonight. Nobody better than you ladies. So thanks for joining on. Again, we've talked about quite a few books, but this is November. We are December. This is December's book, so we will discuss this January 7th. The best place to really keep up with stuff and information and the happenings is to join our Facebook group, our private Facebook group, because there's a lot going on in there. That's where I put events and calendar reminders and things like that to kind of, keep y'all in the happening. So thanks for joining. Hope y'all have a great night. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.